Hey guys and girls, welcome to the channel. Alright, today we're working on the handbrake for the Lexus IS300. We actually got it sitting here. So what I ended up doing is the base, I took the bolts out of the base because it mounts through the bottom here, and I took that off out of here. I'm going to show you the new plate we got in for the actual handbrake. So let's check it out. Alright, so we got the plate here, and so I'm going to mark a place for the base plate, and so when I mount the base plate, the rest of the e-brake will actually mount on top of it, but I have to mount the base plate somewhere, wherever I decide is the perfect spot for the handbrake. But once we get that figured out, mount it, and we got the shifter on, we got the steering wheel and all that deal figured out, and then once we get that, we'll pull the line up and actually hook it to the e-brake, and then we'll be close to having us a drift car. Alright, so today wasn't a super productive day. I went ahead and on the GMC Canyon, I had a slight leak on the transmission pan. So I did go ahead and finish draining it, pulled the pan off, pulled the gasket off, resealed everything with some RTV, and put it back on, resealed it, run some heat in here and let it give it some time to dry. I refilled it, I pulled the spark plugs out. All of the spark plugs were fouled in this thing. Each and every one of them were fouled. So they smell like they're just fuel soaked. So I've got to dial that carburetor in, I think, a little better. And I've done some research on the plugs. I think the gap was wrong on those plugs. I had never pulled them out from when I first got this truck. So I did that. Let's see. I worked on the IS300. I did get the plate in, as you can see, but alright, so what I end up having to do, let's get in here. Alright, so with this plate, you have to mount the base of it. Let's say, I think it's this way. This base plate, maybe we can get the light in this way. With mounting this base plate on here, you actually, that's a little better. Okay, with mounting this base plate, you actually have to take it off the bottom of the actual assembly, of the actual e-brake assembly. And so you mount the base plate, put your bolts into the base plate, into the actual mounting bracket. Well, after I drilled my holes, I fit everything together. I decided that that's too close to the actual windshield wipers. So what I'm going to do, my battery died on my drill. So I'm going to come back tomorrow, and so what I will do is, I've already made my mark, so I'll take that bolt out. I'm actually going to move it over here. I don't know why I ended up making the mark wrong, but I did. So roughly it's going to move it there, which will give us this room. I don't know why in the world I wasn't paying attention. I think I actually took it all out of the car to mark it, and let's see, what you have to come into consideration is this piece. So we're actually realistically going to live somewhere like that, I think. So then once we get it mounted in, we'll have our brake line, and our brake line will sit here, but I've got to actually pull some of the slack back under the car and route it in a fashion where there's not so much slack up here to have to try to deal with. But I think this will be the finished product, but I'll have to get my drill charged. I have to bring my actual charger tomorrow and try to get that thing charged and get the new hole drilled to where I want it. And so with the steering wheel, so if we had put this in with the factory steering wheel, it would have been too close. But now with the changing the steering wheel over to the smaller steering wheel, now we got all kinds of room, because that steering wheel came way out here, which, you know, obviously we can adjust the steering wheel, and well, that's a lot better. So we can actually have some room here, even though, like I say, we can still adjust the steering wheel up, down, you know, however we want it. But he figured out about where he wants it. This is my son's car, and he figured out about where he wants it, so I have to move that bolt over just one place. That will gain us, you know, a tremendous amount of room here. And we have to consider, you know, as we're grabbing this, you don't want to hit your thumb or you know, whatever. And then when you start braking, you don't want to hit your shifter. So if you're in second, you have to consider when you pull this back, you don't want to have to hit, you know, you don't want to run into your shifter. So I think I've got it. I've actually got it marked down there, but I think I've got it where I want it. And I think maybe I was looking at, you know, with it in second gear or something, and worried about it hitting that shifter, so maybe I went a little too far that way or something. So, but either way, I think I want to move it just over maybe another little notch there, and they give a lot more room to, you know, so if you're in mid drift and you go to grab and you're not hitting that shifter or the actual, what you call it, the windshield washer deal. So, and plus that gives you plenty of room to push your line back, and that should be good there. So that's what I got to finish that tomorrow. So I got that to that point at least. So the back one's good. I'm okay with the back one. I just need to move the front over one little space, and then we'll be ready to, once we get that point, I think the bushing should have came today. I need to check my emails and see if the actual inserts came today. So if the inserts came today, oh my goodness, I'm busting window. Alright, so if the inserts came today for the rear end, the rear diff, tomorrow I'll be able to put the rear diff in, maybe if I don't end up working on a rental. But I'll be able to get the rear diff in, at least, if not tomorrow, the next day. I'll be able to at least get all that put back in, fluid in it. And we have to change a set of tires, two tires. Once we get all that, we're ready to fire this car back up. For some reason, if this car sets for over a week, it's got a power draw. I think maybe it might be the alarm, because it flashes constantly. It's a Viper. It's like the square that lights up all the time. But once we get that stuff set in, I don't know about the center console. I know we don't want the carpet back in it. I know we don't want the back seats back in it. The center console, I don't think it's feasible with the side we ended up using on the e-brake handle. I don't know if we'll be able to cut it to fit well enough. We may even just cut a piece of it to try to house some of the lower part of it, to try to clean this section up down here. So we made the piece that goes all up in here. We may end up just, you know, putting it all in on this side and maybe trimming it out for here best we can, and we may not even worry about it, because if we end up cutting it all to pieces, it's not going to be any good anyway. So alright, so there's the bracket. If you're going to do the IS300 hydraulic handbrake, we're finishing the final stages of this setup. Yeah, so we actually laid it out and all that, and didn't film it today. My son came and helped me set the seats in, and we tried everything with the seats in it to kind of get its final position, which again I was still off But if you need any information on how to lay that out and, you know, kind of how we set that up, I can actually message you, or you message me or whatever, and I can help you kind of walk you through how to set this up and install this plate, and how to actually set up this piece. It's not very hard. It's pretty straightforward actually. You just need a drill and drill bits, and the plate actually bolted straight down. I actually had to remove the existing piece, and I left it off, and then I put the new plate on, and it literally just reused the bolts and everything and just bolted it down. I'll still have to pull it back off one more time. Once I drill my hole, I will pull it all off, because you have to have the boot out of it and it off to gain access to the side of the e-brake handle to reinstall the bolts on the bottom plate. But I'll not RTV, I'll Loctite those both sides. I'll Loctite the bolts going into the body that holds the plate down. I'll Loctite all that. So it's not on its final install yet, so I still got to do that. But yeah, that's it for today. Appreciate you guys watching the video and hanging in there with me. It's been a long day. It's super cold out. I just got back from getting some kerosene for the heaters for the shop, so it's pretty cold. I'm about to call it a day. But yeah, thanks for watching our videos. Hit the like button, subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, we'd appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button. And if you want to catch any of our videos, you just hit the little bell. The bell will, you know, send you a notification letting you know we are, you know, putting a video out or have put a video out. We're on Instagram at chesserenterprises. So check us out there. We're on TikTok. I don't have a lot of videos, but we got a few going there. I think we're on Twitter. It's chesserenterprises 2015 or something of that nature, I think. But yeah, we'll put that up here somewhere. And we're on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook, Chesser Motorsports. If you got any questions, anything you need help with, advice, anything, guys, don't hesitate to ask. And our email, chesserenterprises@yahoo.com. Just give us a shout on our email, message us, whatever you want to do, guys. We're not hard to get along with, and there's no such thing as a stupid question. I've got these kids that come in with my son all the time, and they ask stuff all the time, and I every single time I will literally stop what I'm doing and answer these questions. Because when I was a kid, it was strange, but I was into the import scene of, like, you know, and this was before Fast and Furious and all that, and I'm in a small town, so I mean, you didn't see a fixed up Civic or anything like that, you know, before any of that stuff. So like, and we didn't have all the options to look it up on the internet and all this, so I found a group of guys, and I was constantly calling these guys and talking to them, but I didn't have anybody that, you know, was accessible to answer these questions. So guys, if you've been doing this stuff for a while and you know cars, and these kids are asking questions, help them out, man. I mean, you know, I've learned a lot on my own, quite a bit on my own, but I have had some people answer questions, but I never really had anybody, you know, sit me down and explain things and help me with things. I've researched things, and I've made tons and tons of mistakes to get just basic mechanic ability. I'm a shade tree mechanic. I'm no, you know, ace mechanic, you know, ASE certified and all that. I'm not all that, but I can do it enough to make myself happy and work on my own cars. And I have built motors, and I've made some fast cars, and if my car breaks, a lot of times I can fix it. Not all the time, but most times I can fix it myself. I can do brakes, tires, build motors, change transmissions. I mean, a lot of things that I've owned, I've had to fix. So, yeah. So, just adding that in there, guys. If you got a kid asking questions or whatever, don't make him out to feel like an idiot. Actually, stop what you're doing and help these guys. But with that being said, guys, if you have any questions, ask me. If you can't find it, or if some of these guys just aren't, you know, kind of helping out, man, just message me. If you hadn't Googled it, I'll Google it. If I don't know, I'll take the time to Google it for you and help you. So I don't have a problem with that at all. My son asks questions. These kids ask questions that come in with him. I have no problem helping you guys. I have no problem answering them. So feel free to email, message, any of that stuff, guys. I have no issue helping out. So, all right. We'll see you guys on the next one. I've drugged this one on long enough. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Appreciate it.